All right, next lab is about processes and services. So, in previous demo, we have talked about permissions related to files, users, and there are more things you can do to create a user, adding user to the group, and similar stuff. However, since I already have that video somewhere, I believe in my AWS playlist. So if you have seen here, where is AWS? Might be not in AWS, but in EC2. Let me go to the EC2 playlist. So this is my EC2 playlist. If I view this playlist, I somewhere have how you can add user or create a user with key pair in Linux. How to add or create user with key pair in Linux. So that would walk you through how you can even create the user for other with the limited permissions and give them the key pair to log in for this Linux machine instead of giving the EC2 hyphen user. That's for by default user that has most of the privileges. So we create a user for group of members, or maybe for an individual that should not have all the access but some limited access to we grant to that particular individual. So we you can follow this particular video uh, that would illustrate you how you can set this up. Okay. So for now, I'm not going to talk about how we can create or user and add the user in Linux and you can make a use of it. Rather, I'll talk about the processes and services, and we'll walk you through some hands-on here. But before I do that, there are some prerequisite I need to do. I'll have to first say sudo yum install, just a second, install nginx, installing nginx here so that we can talk about the processes and every other thing. Nginx is created. Let's check it's up system. You can also do that in your environment if you want. You can follow this video. So it is still inactive. So what I'll do is I'll say sudo systemctl. It's let me stop and then again start it. That's the basic commands you should be aware of. And now I'll enable this. If I now check my status for Nginx, it is active and running. Okay, cool. Let's clear this up. This was a prerequisite, and you can also perform this in your environment when you're doing this lab. Okay, fine. Now let's start with the very first command. So before I do that, I would like to check whether you are aware what is process. If not, let me explain this to you. In any operating system, process is nothing but a running program in your memory. If you have any nginx web server, for us it's nginx, but if you have any other like java service or python app running, so each process would have the process id and the user to execute, and aligned up with the cpu and the memory usage for it, right? So if I do ps here, that would give you the current shell processes. And if I do ps hyphen aux, that would give you my all running processes, right? So these are the running processes I have. See, there's a list out there, and this much of running processes I have. It is very useful when you troubleshoot an issue, come across an issue and you try to troubleshoot it. So nginx we just recently installed, it also has a worker process running. So the second column is the pid process id, I believe. Just a second. EC PID. This column is for user. This is for PID. This is for CPU, and this is for memory, and so on. So these are like commands in the paths. But you focus on PID for now for this particular demo, and this is the PID you can get if anything you would like to do with this PID, uh, process ID. So next command is, we would not uh, we would not want to have this entire list, so that we can have some, limited processes according to our requirements. I just would like to see anything related to Nginx. So what I'll do is, I'll say this, and I'll do the pipe, and then say grep and Nginx only. So this would give you anything related to Nginx. So my root is the master process, and my Nginx has the worker processes running, right? Easy to use user is also lined up with some color auto Nginx. So anything related to a particular, service you would like to give a check, you can use this command. Okay, that would give you all the ring processes related to your service process. Okay, so now if you would like to check whether what is the high CPU usage and everything. So what you can do is, like, for example, if you have if somebody comes to you and say, my server is running really slow, so you first thing you check is, what's the memory usage. Even on the phone you check when your phone get crashed, and when your phone crashes, you first check whether it is running out of memory, or all the applications running, taking how much space consuming, something like that, right? So for that, we have the command called top, that would give you some top processes that is taking a lot. Since we don't have anything like that, so it's not doing anything, but just a heads up. CPU and memory, these are two columns, you can take a look, right? And next is, if you like to kill any process, so there are two ways. One is called graceful stop, and another one is called force kill. So for example, if I suppose I have run this only, okay, nginx. Now this is the PID. So I can even say this kill, and then this PID for nginx. Let's stop one of the worker process, and one of the worker process PID is 885 51885, right? This is the one I have chosen. I can do this as well, and or else I can say kill hyphen 9. Kill hyphen 9 is nothing but to kill forcefully, right? So either way, it would kill your process. uh, if it is somewhere stuck, you can do that as well. This is no There is no like harm to use kill, but you should be aware of why you're using it. Otherwise it is always harmful, I would say. Hyphen 9, if you use it, that would give you no cleanup time. Just then and there it will kill the process, right? Then there is something called kill, not by the ID but by the name. So suppose you use P, then you can put the name here instead of ID, Nginx, right? And if you like to kill everything related to Nginx, what you will do is you will say kill all, but eliminate P from the beginning. It will kill your Nginx. And this is really helpful when you have any clean stuck deployments, right? When you have any deployments that is stuck, you will have to clean them. Then clean stuck deployment is the good use case for it. Now, if I need to see whether my Nginx uh, has already, whether any jobs running in the background, what you do is, for an example, there is any application. I'm not sure whether I have Python. Let me see. Python version. So Python, I don't have Python. Let me see if I can quickly install it. Then sudo yum install hyphen y python. I have to have Python. Now, if I create any new file called app.py, I'm sorry, py. Now, if I do this Python 3, and then if I do this app.py, and if I this would execute this Python script, Python program, right? But if I do ampersand in the end, what to do? It would give you the uh, testing environment where you would see what's going on when this is being executed. So it gives you the live uh, stuff. So nothing we have here because this is empty. We don't have anything in here. But again, this is when you like to execute something, you would like to see what's going on at the same time. You use ampersand. Right? That ampersand is like the running this in the background. You won't have to. You can even do multiple things, multiple other things, right? This is being executed in the background. You know what I mean? So if you simply run Python 3 app.py, and if there is something in this app.py, then your screen would be busy. However, if you do this ampersand, you can even this process would run in the background. You can do other things as well. So that's kind of give you kind of temporary testing or free terminal, you can say. Now, if I do this jobs, I'm sorry, just a second, jobs. So what do I have here? We have one stopped and one done. So these are the two jobs we recently have run. And what else we can cover? We can also see whether we have any service running for like we have Nginx, right? So I have already shown you how you can do the system CTL things in the beginning itself. That's also part of this. So if you check the status, system CTL status will give you the status for that particular service. And since this is also part of debugging your issues to confirm your service health and other stuff like that, you can always use this. Next command is stop. This is how you can stop it. Next command is start. This is how you can start your process nginx, and then you can enable nginx as well, like this. Or even you can do the restart. If I do this, it would be restarted instead of enable. You can even disable it as well. And let's say you would like to see the service logs for it. So there is a command called journal ctl hyphen u, and then nginx. Since we have installed nginx, we'll talk about that only. We do j. So this is the service logs. Again, this would help you to debug any crashes if there is any. So that's how you troubleshoot the issues when you work in the live environment, right? Monitor, you can even monitor live logs as well. If I do hyphen, I'm sorry, hyphen f. So this has gone into live environment. So whatever you're doing, you can even check the live logs here. So we don't have any action item, so that's the reason it's stuck there only. Okay. Then we have something called, I think I've already covered most of the things for this particular session. I'll certainly I'm open for more ask if you have anything I missed from this particular demo. And I would like to rephrase, this is not a Linux course session. This is a prerequisite, the basic stuff you should be aware of, how you can troubleshoot the issues when you work in the live environment. When you deploy any application on AWS with the help of some dev tools, then you'll have to log into or SSH into the Linux system. You will have to do all of these things to troubleshoot the issue when it comes to production environment specifically, right? Okay, I will catch you in the next video.